Oh, hi folks, hope you're well. Ah, busy day today. Um, I don't want this video to come across as in any way that I'm a misogynist. That means a woman hater. Okay, for those less informed. I'm not. But I know a control freak when I see one. And I'm going to tell you a little story. I was invited by a friend I haven't seen for some time around their house to have a hi and say hello. And I haven't seen him in ages, a really good friend. And he told me that, he said to me on the phone, "You remember this girl I was going out with, yada, yada, yada?" I said, "Yeah." Seemed like quite a nice girl, I remember. He says, "Well, yeah, we eventually got married and, anyway, she's my wife and, yeah, but I come on by." So I took time today to go and see him. Wish I hadn't, to be honest with you. No disrespect to him. As a friend, I love him dearly. He's a really, really nice guy. I've known him for a long time. But he's a shadow of his former self, quite frankly. I thought, what's gone wrong? What has happened to him? And, at all accounts, I do recall him when he was courting, that she was a delight. She was fantastic, and he was blowing smoke up her ass like, I can't believe she's that good, I'll go. He was, telling me all this stuff when he was courting. But anyway, I get the invite and I go around to see him. And within 10 minutes, I wanted to leave, to be honest with you. Because my lips are so sore. I was trying to bite my lip so often. Because this woman has turned out to be the bitch from hell. And I thought, oh my God. Now, they don't have any children. Allegedly, they were engaged and they hadn't set a date for the marriage, I remember that. And suddenly she said she was pregnant. So they got married. But here's the amazing thing it was a phantom pregnancy. There never was a baby. I said, anyway, I got my friend alone for a while in the garden, having a drink, cup of tea. And I said, "How are you getting on?" And all I wanted to do was give him a cuddle, to be honest with you. I could see this guy, and my heart was going out to him. And she was continually eavesdropping on the conversation as well. So I said, let's. Do you mind? My legs are aching. I said, "Do you mind if we go for a walk? It's nice outside. Let's just go for a walk, you and I. I just wanted to get away from the eavesdropper." And he said, "I'll just go and tell her." I said, No. What do you need to tell her for? You haven't got any children. You can't go for a walk without reporting in and asking Mummy if you can go for a walk. Mistake number one. He's asking her permission. It's nothing to do with he's going to tell her that I'm going out in a mo. I may be sometime. See you later. No, I can understand that, but no, it's the way I've just got to go and tell her. What do you mean you've got to go and tell her? Tell her that you're going for a walk and you'll be back in half an hour, maybe all afternoon, you never know. But just go and tell her. And I could see the fear in his face, just in case she... No. And she was very suspicious of me. And I don't know the girl. And it was almost like I was in her territory and she's got this dog that she's in full control of. And now I've come to take the dog for a walk, and she's not liking it. I can sense it. She isolates. She's one of these, she isolates so she can control. And I said, well, go and tell her. Don't go and ask her. Go and tell her you're going for a walk. we're just going to go walk down the canal or something, and be back in a minute. It was all very furtive, and I felt so sorry for him. And the house, I must confess, is immaculate. The garden is immaculate. The patio was immaculate. The car was nice and shiny. It was like alles in Ordnung, ja, everything in order. And she was well manicured. She's not exactly a pig, but I can sense it, that she's watching his every move. And if you put something down on the table in the kitchen, for example, she'd come along and she'd move it half an inch into its right position. I thought, oh God, she's one of these. I bet if he farts in bed, she changes the sheets. One of these. And I could see this poor sod. And he's a former self. I thought, where is the man I knew? And now he's got a control freak with tits, strutting around his house where he's having to ask her permission. And she hasn't got a husband, she's got a little whipping boy. And she's managed to pull it off because he's such a sweet-natured guy. And here she is, and got talking, got him away. Yes, she let him go out to play with his friend, get that, do you know what I mean? I just didn't like her. She was smug, and obviously looks after herself in the sense that she's got nice clothes, she's got well manicured, she's got these tatted eyebrows. She's not a looker, but she's okay, But she's certainly cold. She's emotionally cold. And it's almost like their relationship, from the outside, appears to me, strictly business. It's a functionality, it's a function thing. And she earns less than him, a lot less than he does. I got him away. And before we left, she said, I'll begrudgingly, yes, look, I'll make some lunch. She said, only a sandwich. That's all we're having. Only a sandwich. But I'll leave it on the side because I might go out. I don't know yet. Okay. Well, do you want it or not? Well, it wasn't a question until she asked the question at the end. It was an assumption. Do you want it or not? Because if you don't, I won't make it. Well, don't make it then. Make it and leave it. My reply would have been, no, it's okay. Don't trouble yourself. We'll get something when we're out. Pub lunch. But she was like, you needn't go down. I could see what was in her mind. Oh, they're going down the pub for a pub lunch. And I thought, so what if we were? She could have asked, you guys going to get a pub lunch? Because that'll save me making lunch for us all. No. I will make a sandwich. This is the control freakery coming through now. And it's almost like a veiled threat. I expect you back to eat what I'm going to prepare. And I don't want you two down in the pub having pub lunch. Because I didn't want to invite her. I didn't go down there to see her. I went down to see my mate. Okay. But it's almost like he wanted to escape for a while. I was taking my mate out to play. And I was having to sort of grovel, or he was anyway. I felt guilty. I probably got him into trouble. Because God knows what she said when I left. Oh, I haven't spoken to him since. Yet. But he'll cover for her anyway, because he was embarrassed. I could tell he was embarrassed by being dictated to by a control freak with tits like that. But you can see the resentment in her face. It was like she was jealous that he's got a friend. And he hasn't got many mates, my mate, by the way. He's probably not allowed. He has to put it past the Sturmführer, you know, the Gruppenführer. And she's horrible. She is. I would just not want to be with it. She drains you when you sit with her, and she's sitting there and she's looking at you up and down, and you can tell that she's analysing. She's hanging on to your every word, and that means I have to be guarded with what I say. She has no sense of humour, very little for what I could see. She was like, yeah. And almost sarcastic, and I don't even know her, and I could sense that she was assessing me. And when my back's turned, of course, Mr. Paranoid that I am, I'm sure that she's going to say, "Don't bring him round here again," and he'll probably comply. And I feel desperately sorry for the chap, but I think, well, give it a year. Give it a year. Anyway, we went out and had a quick beer, and we came back, and yes, there was some crappy little sandwiches made covered in cling film when we got back. And to be honest, you know, she was on the phone to her mother, probably reporting back to group headquarters. Ah, yes, Car 4, yes. Is that the Luftwaffe fleet? Yeah, they've landed. Yeah, panic over. And, you know, she was going to send the boys around to get us, no doubt. She was a bit panicky. And she spent most of the time that we were together again once we got back, you know, eavesdropping, and she was never far away. She was always in, I wouldn't say spitting distance, otherwise I could have hit her, but you could tell. And I thought, you know, okay, I didn't say anything. I was sort of planning a family and all this sort of thing. Well, as you know, the baby we thought we were going to have never materialised. It was a phantom pregnancy. I thought, oh yeah, bollocks. Was it a phantom pregnancy? Was it a cushion shoved under? Pretend, is it? And anyway, she got him. She got quite a catch, actually, because he's a lovely lad in a good job. But I can't see it. I can't see it lasting if it were me, but it's him. And he's going to be one of these unfortunate people. And she will sooner or later, you see, the saving grace is if it all did go tits up, he'd get out relatively unscathed. They'd sell the house, split the equity, and that would be the end of the matter. But I can't see her doing that, because she's got a good one in him. She's got her cash cow. And, you know, she's got a lifestyle to support, and he's going to support it. And he doesn't know what's going to hit him yet. You wait. And when we were discussing things together, I sort of said, "Are you still planning on procreating, having children?" He says, "Well, yeah." I said, that means nookie every night then. Joke. Lucky boy. He says, "You'll be lucky." Well, what do you mean? He says, "Well, come on then." I said, as boys do. How often? What about the spontaneous over the kitchen table, you know? You haven't got any kids around. May as well make some over the kitchen. No, you're kidding, aren't you? And he was so embarrassed. And I thought, well, I felt bad asking him because, he's not the type, I don't think. I think that she would go to bed wearing a pair of rubber gloves and a surgical mask, quite frankly. You know, there's no chance of anything but straight missionary. Hey, are you finished? Yes, right, let's put the lights out, good night. That's it. I'm trying to be a family show person here. There's absolutely no chance. Her mission, of course, is to succeed. And I'm sure she'll just do the missionary position, lie there for 10 minutes as I recommended, to let it, you know, soak in, if you like. And I wanted to cry for him. He said, "No, lucky, 2 or 3 times a month." He said, "That's a good month." I said, "Well, oh God, what do you have to do then?" He says, "Well, I don't have to do anything." He says, "You know, it's almost planned to the diary." I said she's matching up her optimum ovulating time. Is that what she's trying to do? He says, well, I don't understand all that, but probably, if you're right, yeah. That's the only time they have sex, is when she's due to the highest chance, because she must hate sex so much, but she's having to force herself to do it in order to get the optimum, the least number of intercourses to maybe facilitate a pregnancy. And that's why she does it by the calendar method. Says she Catholic? No, not at all. So it's not a form of contraception then, because this woman wants herself. She is going to tie my mate down for sure by dropping a sprog on him. You would think that she'd be ever so grateful for getting sex in the first place, quite frankly, because, well, she wouldn't be in my life to have sex if she was with me anyway. I would have seen through the nonsense and done something about it. I would have got rid, quite frankly. I wouldn't have got there. So my friend is in a trap, and I feel sorry for him. But what is it? Driving home, I was thinking this. What is it that allowed him to have such low self-esteem that he would settle for something like that? Because he comes from a really good family, really successful siblings. His father's a gem. And yet here he is. His marriage is destined, well, his life is destined to be one total dominant bitch over his life, as far as I can see. And what do? The dilemma is, do I tell my friend that he's got spinach on his teeth and should do something about it? Because, in fairness, I've only met her once, but I can see it. I can see the change in him. And he comes across as such a sweet man, a gentle man, and he's got this bitch from hell, and he is so polite and giving, and now it's like opposites attract. He's got this bitch from hell who's a control freak, and she's got herself a little boy that she can push about. And I want to shake the shit out of my mate and say, will you wake up and smell the coffee and realise what's happening here? And I've only met her for an hour, and I can tell you in a heartbeat exactly the type of woman you've got on your hands. But he allegedly loves her. Well, is it love, or is it an infatuation? Is he suffering from the Oedipus complex, where he's been pulled off his mother's tit a little bit too soon, and any tit will do to latch back onto? Even if that were the case, I don't think his wife will let him latch onto hers. Not without putting a bit of rubber over it and pretending or something, because she's cold. And I can tell you now she doesn't love him. I can see it in the way she looks at him. I can see it in everything she does, the contemptuous way in which she speaks to him. And she's patronising, and she puts him down. Jokingly, disparagingly, yes, but it's not a joke. I don't think it's funny. There's no respect from her towards him. It's one-way traffic. I wouldn't criticise her to him in respect. I think he's got enough problems on his shoulders. He's embarrassed, and she seems to excel at embarrassing him and bringing him down. And to be honest, the only thing that stopped me giving it to her with both barrels was my respect for my friend. But I feel so sad for him. But I want to know, what gives her the right? Who has made her the boss? Who has made her the general of the camp? Who's programmed her to be how she is? Why is she so bitter? She seems to be a bit of a misogynist. That's a woman hater. But she seems to be a man hater. I'm sure there's a posh word for it. But if she hates him, what does she want to do with marrying him? Because, simply put, this bitch wants a soft Dutch who's a cash cow, and she's perfect, the perfect type to have a fling. She's using him until something better comes along. And I can almost guarantee the worst thing my friend can do is have a child with her. Because once she has the compulsory child, he will be third place in that house. She's already place number one. She's the boss. Then it's him, so he's two. But if there's a child, the child becomes first, the mother becomes second, and he will be an also ran. And he is just a cash cow, just a provider. And this is her agenda. I can see it. She's a prepper. She reads magazines about parenthood, and yet she's not a parent. Her friends that I discovered, got young children. They've got the 4x4x5, you know. They've all got their own car with 2 or 3 car seats, baby car seats in them. Even the neighbour. Detached. Yes, they've all got 2 cars in the driveway. And you can guarantee it's his and her cars all the way. But my mate hasn't got a his and her car. Not yet he hasn't. He has a company car, which is very nice. And she's got an out. But she can drive his company car when he's in. So, there we are. But it won't be long. It won't be long, folks. I can't see why she can't afford her own car. She's got a reasonably good enough job. She resents like hell going to work. It's almost like if he was a man, he'd be able to support me. It's like she's demeaning him. Well, if she feels that way about him, why is she with him? That's what I want to say to her. I didn't, but I wanted to. But it made me dislike her. Because most women, really, if they respect and love their husband, they big them up. Deservedly so or not, they would big them up. You know, I could have, on a personal note, I could have a blinding row with my wife. Rare. But if somebody knocked on the door, you know, and came in to visit us both, that row would not raise its head. You would never know that 10 minutes before you came to our house, even knocking on the door, that we were in the middle of a heated debate. And don't tell me that people don't row. All couples row. It's what you row about that's important. And I won't row over trivia. Okay, I think, is it important in my life? No, well, fine, you do what you want. Because it's zero important. I will row to death if it's important to me and not so important to her. And I win those rows. Because ultimately I'm a man. Okay, sexist that I am. But my wife at least respects me for that. But looking at my friend, I don't think he's probably capable of winning a row with the stormtrooper. I really don't, or the Gruppenführer. I think he does as he's told, and that's what she likes. But you know what? I wonder whether she really does like that about him. Maybe she's testing him, see how far she can push him. And I didn't want to hang around to watch. It was a lamb to the slaughter. And yet there are a lot of women like this. Not just my mate's wife. A lot of women. And these are women with an agenda. They have their life figured out exactly. They've been reading too many girly magazines and women advice columns in their spare time, doing their nails, talking to their friends. They see what their friends have, their nice friends, and see what they've got, and they want some, but they're incapable because they have a character flaw. It's all about me, me, me. It's all about them, 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 isn't it? I've said before in videos, if you help enough people get in life what they want, you will get what you want in your life eventually, tenfold. And my mate's wife is doing herself such a disservice by being the bitch that she is to my friend. Oh, I want to tell her so badly. But I would lose my friend, because she would say, it's me or him, make your choice, and if you choose him, you can get out of the house. This is the type. And I know if my mate left her and said, listen, you keep the house, everything in it, it's worth me doing that and signing it over to you just to be rid of you. She would deserve that, but he's not the type. I'd walk out with my laptop in my bag and say, see ya. That would be a price worth paying to be rid of someone like her. And I've only met him today after ages of wanting to see him. We managed to find time to get together. And it was a heartbreak. I didn't get an invite to the wedding. What a surprise. I made that point actually. It was only a small wedding, close friends and family. But I thought, well, I'm a close friend. Haven't seen him in ages, quite frankly, but we do keep in touch. Well, that's enough of me jabbing on for 26 minutes about my friend, but have you got any children in your life that are old enough and having relationships with such women? Maybe you have daughters who have got a totally dominant, nasty piece of work as a boyfriend or a husband. You see, it cuts both ways. I think marriage is a partnership and there should be 50-50, but at some stage, you see, you can't both be king and you can't both be queen. There has to be compromises. And if it's all one-way traffic, it's hardly a partnership, is it? It's a dictate. It's a dictocracy. A dictatorship. Yeah, that's what it is. As long as she's dictating, she's happy. And my mate, oh man, I could cry for him. But I'm not going to give him advice because that's the quickest way to lose friends. Because the first thing he would do is go up probably and say, you know, the moment he tried to initiate any change or put up some resistance, oh, that's new, he's fighting back sort of resistance, in her mind she'll be, oh, you've only become like this since your mate's been around. No, he's not that sharp to disguise it, because he'd go straight in. You've got to leave, you know, let the dust settle for a month or so, and then he can start putting his foot down. But if he put his foot down too early, it'll be, you're only being a bastard because your mate's told you what to do and how to handle me, and he's bad bloke, bad news that bloke, and bad news for her maybe, but she would blame me, and I don't want the blame. So I'm not giving advice. He can sink or swim. He's a man, I'm sure. He's got a daddy and he's got a couple of brothers, but maybe his brothers are a pushover as well. So less said, sooner mended, I think. But one thing is, I really don't want to go back and see him. I've invited him, just him, to my house to spend some time with me. Oh yeah, I don't think she'll come along. She'll find some excuse not to come along, because I really don't want her meeting my wife, because my wife and her are chalk and cheese. They would have nothing, nada in common. It would be a fruitless exercise, and I wouldn't leave my wife alone with her for 5 minutes. There'd certainly be some form of verbal catfight. So, I just value your opinion to see what you would do. Would you say anything to your mate, or would you just go smile and retreat face forwards? And that's what I'm planning to do. And I will maintain telephone contact with my friend, and I would avoid going round his house in future. But then, you see, he wouldn't have any friends going round his house. They've all been round once, and that's enough for anybody. I don't think there are any repeat performances from his friend that goes round and see him. Maybe that's what she wants. See, she's got her own way again, hasn't she? Perhaps I'll just flood him with phone calls. But she'd be on the upstairs line listening in. You know the type. What are your thoughts about people like this? I think he's destined for a life of penury and misery with the bitch from hell.